Hey guys, it's me, Gabby from Probaholic, and today I will be reviewing The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pierce, and this is the third and last installment in the Ramadan Chronicles. I have been in love with this series for like a year and a half. I read the first book, which is Kiss of Deception, last summer, the summer of 2015. Then this summer of 2016, I read Heart of Betrayal, and I think 2 weeks ago I finished The Beauty of Darkness. I really like this series. So today I will have a short discussion. First, I'll tell you about the series and about this book without spoiling anything, and then I'll dive into a spoilery part where I'll discuss what happens in this book particularly. So without further ado, let's get started with the first part. So as I said, I really enjoyed the series. Basically, it revolves around Leah, who is a princess of Morgan, and as such, she's basically married off to a prince in a foreign kingdom, and she doesn't really like that. She doesn't like that people are deciding her fate, so she decides to escape on her wedding day. When the prince and all the ambassadors and everyone has gathered in the chapel, Leah escapes with her best friend and they decide to have a normal life without politics, without anyone telling them what to do. Basically, that's the premise of the first book. It's about her figuring out what she wants to do, and also there are two guys that are basically searching for her. The first one, as you might have guessed, is the prince that she was supposed to marry, who is kind of intrigued about this girl that had the guts to defy her kingdom and his kingdom. And the second one is a assassin from a third, let's say, kingdom. It's not exactly a kingdom, but a country that is determined to make sure there will not be a union between the two kingdoms, because that third country is trying to kind of destroy them. And yeah, it's really interesting. The first book is more like getting to know the characters. There are a lot of plot twists and plot turns. There are a lot of descriptions, and you get used to, the background story, the world building, which is great. And also in the first book, we have a lot of these like religious texts. I don't know if you can see them. So we have the Last Testament of Gadriel. We have the Song of Venda and something with Morgan. Basically, we have these religious texts that in the beginning make no sense to you, but towards the end of the book and the beginning of second book, you're like, wait a minute. So as a whole, I give the first book 5 out of 5 stars. The second book is much different because it takes place in different places. There are a lot more characters in the second book, and there is a lot more action and adventure. I also gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And this book, I still really loved it. I really loved how the characters developed, especially Leah, who is our main protagonist, how she actually grew to be the character that we as readers always knew she was destined to be, how she was able to defy the social norms and fight for what she believed was right, and many other things that I really enjoyed. But I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars because the ending wasn't something that I particularly enjoyed, because this was a wrap-up novel. As any other YA series, there was supposed to be this epic battle. It was still present in this book, but it wasn't as, I would say, it wasn't as important as I would like it to be, because its importance was diminished because it was resolved in a very easy way, and because the three books were kind of leading up to this moment, it didn't have a good resolution, and that is why I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. As a whole, I do recommend this series, definitely. I think that the characters and the idea behind the book are really nice. Of course, there is a love triangle, but it's done in a way that it's not, I would say, like repetitive or repulsive. It is nice, like the romance, and definitely there are a lot of strong female characters as well as some horrible characters, like male or female, it doesn't really matter. But it's really interesting to see how every kingdom like has their own point of view on history, or like on things that happen or are happening in the moment. So as you probably guessed, I do recommend this series, and in particular this book. But now I'll dive into The Beauty of Darkness and discuss some of the things that happen in the installment. So if you haven't read the book, I will recommend you not staying. Go read this book, it's definitely worth it, and then come back so that we can discuss it. But for now, I have to say goodbye, and yeah, hopefully see you soon. So now, for those of you who have read this book, let's start with the beginning of the novel. Basically, we start off with Leah and Rafe, surviving the attack in Venda. I really there was no suspense for me because I knew Leah would survive, because otherwise there would be no point in the whole book. So it was kind of obvious that she will be okay. It was still interesting to see how she interacted with Rafe's friends and how some of them were more distant than other. But it kind of reminded me of when she was traveling with Caden, and I think that this parallel was well made. But still, I think that I enjoyed more her travel with Caden, because there was a lot of things that could happen. There were a lot of directions that their relationships could go, and here it was more like they like each other, they love each other, whatever. So it was more simple. So once Caden joined them, I was kind of confused to whether he actually is helping them or not. I mean, I know that he tried to save Leah, but I had this like hope that he thinks of her as his queen as well, like his commissar as well, and he wants to bring her back to Venda. That would have been very interesting. But no, he actually just went along with them, which was kind of strange and not really following his character. When they actually reached Delbrag, I've always had problems with Rafe. I didn't really like him because he thought he was better than Leah in some ways because he's a prince, and that was very obvious when they reached his kingdom and how he started to treat her. So I really enjoyed once Leah was brave enough to stand up and say, "Wait, what are you talking about? I am going back to Morgan because it's my kingdom, it's my duty, and they're my people." I really admired her for that decision, even though she could have stayed in Delbrak and become a queen and have everything she ever wanted. But no, she went back to the people that actually want to kill her just because they're her people. I think that the most interesting and probably a bit confusing part of this book was actually seeing her interactions with the people in Morgan, with her mom, and with the Chancellor, and with some of the other members of the Morgan court, because I was sure that the Chancellor and the other advisors, they are all plotting against her, but it turns out that some of them are, some of them aren't, and it's really confusing. Once her mom was like, you need to trust people and not all of them are against you, I was kind of hesitant because I don't want her to get hurt. But it was nice how it turned out that the person that she actually thought was against everything didn't turn out to be an evil guy. So now we have reached the point where I was kind of disappointed with this book, and that is the epic battle in the end. I think that because the plot moment was so fast paced, its significance was kind of lost. The moment where Leah confronted the commissar was even more like it was not described enough. There was not enough time. They didn't we had so much time hating the commissar. We learned that he's the most horrible person ever, and in the end he just died so easily, and it just makes you wonder, how is it possible that the person that we have been trying to kill for 2 books just died this easily? And in the end, we figure out that Caden is actually with Pauline, and they are raising her son together, which was even more strange considering the fact that they were not together. They had nothing in common. It just seemed really forced. Caden needs to be with someone so that the readers are satisfied, so let's put him with Pauline. I mean, it just did not make me feel anything. And yeah, in the end, we have Rafe, who is actually going to try his best to be with Leah, which is a ship I definitely do not support, because even if he has learned his lesson, I think that Caden is a better match for her just because they have the same passion for their people, and I don't know, he has this personality that reflects more on the person that she is, and Rafe is kind of, trying to, I don't want to say beat her down, but he's dragging her down in a way. At least that it's how it seems to me. So in conclusion, I really like the book as it was developing until like the 500th page. I really like how Leah became this amazing warrior and she confronted all of the people that were hunting her. In the end, I have some problems with the last battle, but I think I can swallow them. I honestly think that this was a good wrap-up novel. I would have liked to see more in the end, to have more time, but you know, we never get what we want. So yeah, I'm satisfied. I gave the book 4 out of 5 stars. Tell me down below how many stars you gave it, whether or not you agree that the ending was kind of rushed. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed wrapping up this amazing novel, because the world and the characters and everything in it was just magnificent.